just wait for a few of you to turn up, guys. All right, guys, how's everyone going during the complete changing of the world? How are you all? How are you all safe where you are? Are you all in lockdown? Yeah, I haven't done a chat for a little while. It's just, well, you know what's been going on in the world. So there's a lot of people losing jobs, a lot of people being infected, a lot of people dying, lots of uncertainty, lots of conspiracy theories, everything. Lots of hoarding, lots of unable to get foods and things. So this is basically, wasn't here today to talk food. It was more to just give an update on what it's like here with the coronavirus, what we're going through, and see how you guys are doing and what you're going through. And yeah, Loco, you're still going to school. I know the schools are still open here. Yes. We want social distancing, stand at least 5 feet away from everybody, but go to school and have kids lick each other's faces. Yeah. Don't worry, be happy. What was your name before? Because I know you're a mod. You're in lockdown. Yeah, we're at level 2 lockdown. We're probably going to be level 3 in the next 2 or 3 days, maybe. We're good. Like, none of us have the virus at this point that we're aware of. Like, none of us have any symptoms, but as you know, your symptoms can appear days and days and days and days, or even weeks later. LP, wow, here in Oregon schools. Yeah, schools still open here. The directive was schools will remain open, but it's best if you keep your kids at home. Right. Okay, that makes sense. A lot of mixed messages in this country, which is making people confused. I think what they're saying with the schools is we're keeping them open so people that can't look after their kids because they're doctors or nurses or doing the job that if the kids are home they can't do, then there's a school for them. Which is, I understand, but the reality is at some point they will have to lock everything down because too many kids are asymptomatic and they don't even know they've got it and you don't know you've got it. So anyway, we took our kids out of school and preschool, even though our school hired a full-time nurse and they're taking temperatures throughout the day and they've got good hand washing, all these things being monitored and stuff. You know, I was a kid the other day at school that was coughing and I'm like, well, come on. So yeah, eat your vitamin C. Oh, look, I saw this coming months ago. So I stocked up on everything like a month before people started flipping out and going to the shops. I've got lots and lots of vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin K, selenium, like everything I've got. Lots of food. I'm good with pretty much everything because, like I said, I stocked up a month before people went to the shops and all stocked up at once, and then there was nothing left. It is getting cooler. I mean, it's summer only just ended a few weeks ago. But right now, today, it's drizzly. It's raining a bit. It's probably like 21 degrees Celsius, so it's pretty cool. It was like 35 the other day, which is quite hot. But temperatures really dropped. Parent, don't send your kids at school. What does it say? Stock up latex gloves. I've got sanitizers. I've got gloves. The one thing I don't have is face mask. I wanted to get a face mask and a giant welding mask. I could always wear my old hazmat suit that I've got from a Breaking Bad video I did. What I have been actually trying to get is rubbing alcohol. Trying to get rubbing alcohol because I've got lots of aloe vera plants, so I could make my own sanitizer if I had rubbing alcohol. And it needs to be, I think, at least 70% with ethanol and stuff. So, but anyway, so how's everyone going where you are? Like, I remember 2 months ago telling people that this is going to be really, really bad, and I expect Australia's going to have, by early, somewhere between the 1st and 10th of May, 1.5 million cases. People just laughed at me. They're like, saying most people get a mild case of this coronavirus, but a mild case of coronavirus is not a mild case of a cold or a flu. You've got a massive spectrum. A mild case could be asymptomatic, or a mild case could be all the way to the worst flu you've ever had, and you're that close to having to go to hospital. And it's a big spectrum. I've also been reading up a lot on data and doctors and what everyone's been saying. It seems that if you are O blood type, not positive, just O, you don't get affected as much unless you've got lots of underlying issues, diabetes, heart problems, various things. Because apparently if you have O blood type, your body is really fast at producing antibodies, and your antibodies are really, really strong. People that are in the worst position are people with blood type A. Blood type A is a slow response. The antibodies produced are not very strong. So that's one thing that we need to look at. Another thing that I read up maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I've made sure that this is correct before I want to mention it, is that there are 2 strains of coronavirus. The one that jumped from what they believe a bat, well, let's just say it jumped from an animal to a human and started transmitting from human to human. They believe about 2 weeks after that, it mutated into a different strain. There's L strain and there's S strain. One of the strains is a lot stronger than the other and is much more damaging. And they believe this will... Now, the WHO's... I don't put much stock in the WHO. Not the band, but the World Health Organization. I don't put a lot of stock into that. They're way too slow to do everything. They, when it comes to them, they think that sugar is awesome. They think that fat is bad. They're paid off by people. So I don't listen to them. I listen to doctors and hardcore data with research. So there's 2 strains. Well, it is a plague, essentially. I mean, look, a vaccine is so far away. They could discover a vaccine right now. With a vaccine, you have to test people with it. But then once you do it, you have to have a 14-month period between injecting these trial patients and before you can know if it's safe, because there's a 14-month window of anywhere from 0 to mild to serious side effects. Some side effects don't come out for a year or more. So you've got to wait that 14-month period to make sure that though that virus doesn't somehow mutate or trigger 11 months later in your system and kill you or bring on something else. So it's a very, very long way away. Now, as far as there being a cure, there's the malaria drugs, there's the HIV drugs, there's those in combination. They seem to help, but you still have to get the virus to get it, to be able to have this. So you're still going to get it. Dr. Mike, I'm not sure who that is, but I'll check him out. I mean, I do a lot of research anyway because I've got nothing else to do, to be honest. And you've got totals all around the world of what's going on and how many people are infected, how many are dying. with a very high death rate in Italy of over 10%. And but at the same time, there will be people that are not being tested that have it, and there are people that don't even know they've got it because they're asymptomatic. Those are lucky, but those people could be going out and infecting people who will get a very bad reaction to it. But whatever it is, I fully expect by the time this is over, whatever that means, anywhere from, this might sound alarmist, I don't know, but I believe anywhere from 4 to 6.3 billion people around the world will be infected. But you can't trust proper data gathering through certain governments that want to hide how bad it is so people don't get scared or they feel like they don't look weak. So many things. Like here, the laws that are coming in, they're wanting to put, right now, if you go outside and you're not supposed to and you're not doing your distancing, they can fine you up to $1,000 and put you in six months in jail. And they want to have tracking devices on their phones. Now, all these things, it's like something's happened in the world with this virus, which is really, really, really scaring people because this has not been seen for 100 years, and people and governments have been blasé for a long time about this kind of thing, that it won't really happen, or it's one of those things that could happen down the track. Well, it's happening now. So our way of life has totally changed forever. Hopefully for the good, because it's making a lot of us, including myself, think what's important in life. Suddenly sport doesn't seem so important. Suddenly where your next meal's coming from seems important, and not wasting things unnecessarily, and not having a new iPhone every 6 months. That's not important, because what you want to buy at the shops at any time of the day and go, oh, we need that, may not be there. So you need to conserve and be careful. But all these laws coming in, which are horrible laws, taking away nearly every freedom you have. My question is, if this continues for a year or so, and I expect that for the better part, this is going to continue, best case scenario until October, worst case 18 months. All these laws that have come in, a lot of people get used to things, and then when everything goes, all right, we've got a vaccine, we've got herd immunity, go back out into the world, how many of those laws are actually going to stay? People will be used to them, and governments can say to people, well, we're going to keep a lot of these laws because we'll need them anyway for the next pandemic or the next thing. So that's my concern, that a lot of our freedoms will continue years down the track because it's a way to control and watch people, which I don't agree with. But anyway, sorry, I've been rambling and I've not been reading your comments, so I'm sorry. So, oh my God, Young says, pardon me, your school's still open? How's did you know a few pandemic? Yeah, well, see, that's the smart thing, I believe. India has like 500 or 600 cases, and they have gone in full lockdown for 3 weeks, and that will be reassessed. That's going to slow the spread. Here, yes, our schools are still open. A couple of states in Australia have closed their schools, but they're open here, but we've kept our kids home. Why risk? Why risk it? Yeah, so right now, excuse me. Oh, let me just get my calculator, because I can see the figures, and I know right now the death rate's over 10% in Italy. 7,503 deaths divided by 74,386 cases. I don't know what I pressed. Divided by 74,386 as a percent. So 10.09. Now in Australia, it hasn't quite updated on the websites, but we've just had an extra like 250 cases on top of what it says, and and they've updated. We've now had 3 deaths today. It's starting to ramp up here a lot. It's because there's a lot of mixed messages and a lot of people not taking it seriously. UK Media Watch, stay safe. Thanks, I will. Unfortunately, some of us have to go out and we're in contact with things. So, David Boucher, hey man, how you going? Mr. 420. How are you guys? Are any of you got the coronavirus, any people you know that have it. And the scary thing with this, they're saying, say, just in Australia, they expect 15 million or more people out of 25 million will be infected. But they only think 150,000 will die. When I say only, 150,000 is a lot of people. I believe it'll be a lot more. I'm thinking with more like double, even up to 500,000 dying because the system cannot cope. Now, we're all in lockdown. Basically, we're in lockdown because our health systems can't handle this. The reason our health systems can't handle this is because our health systems have been decimated for years and years and decades by governments who don't care about health. In most countries, on any given day, the health system is almost at capacity. So they don't care. So as a punishment for them cutting funds to hospitals and everything for years and years and years all around the world, they have to then punish us by destroying jobs and people's lives. Suicides will go up. People that have heart attacks and strokes and serious medical conditions won't get any care. They'll just be left to die because there'll be no ambulance to get to them in 8 minutes. It'll take an hour. People in the ICU, I know in some countries, particularly Italy, you've got elderly people on ventilators to try and keep them alive for them to fight this. And then you get a 29-year-old coming in who needs a ventilator. And the doctors are having to make these horrible decisions to actually physically take the ventilator away from these older people, give it to the younger people so they can live, and they have to let the other people die, and they're giving them sedatives to make it a little bit less painful for them. There can't be many more things I can think of being less painful than dying through unable to breathe for days. It is ridiculous, isn't it? I'm glad that, and this is the scary thing about it. When you really think about it, it's still in its complete and utter early stage. You wait until, say, end of May. So I'll just do a quick calculation, assuming the curve continues. Okay, this is the scary thing. Let's pretend that right now the curve continues, that we're moving on. I'll just put this number in. Okay. Now, the thing is, the rates are actually scarily doubling every 3 days when usually they would expect every 4 to 6. Let's pretend they only double every 4. Let's pretend the cases only double every 5 days. Let's just work on 5 days, right? So we double in 5 days, right? Then what I'll do is I'll double again in 5 days. So in 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So in 30 days from now, if it only doubles every 5 days, and it's doubling in 3 or so, so in 30 days from now, let's call it, it's like the 25th of March. So let's double it one more time. So by the end of April, if this is correct, and it doubles only every 5 days and not the current rate, which is about 3 to 3.5, there will be worldwide 60 million confirmed cases. Now, I would expect that whatever the confirmed cases are versus how many actual cases we have around the world because of people that are asymptomatic, don't know they've got it, so they're not being tested, lack of testing, could potentially be tenfold. So you could be looking at 600 million actual cases. So let's say 60 million cases, right, by the end of, end of April. It's not that long away. And the worldwide death rate is about 4.3%. Let's say that continues. Now, it's skyrocketing in some countries. It's not too bad in others. But the ones where it's not too bad is going to skyrocket. Let's just call it 4%. That Then by the end of April, if these figures I have are correct, and I'm being so conservative, like if it doubles every 3.5 days, it's way more. But I'm saying every 5 days, just to be extremely conservative, because there may be a bit of a slowdown with the curve. 60 million confirmed cases by the end of April around the world, with about 2.4 million deaths at that point. Now, when we're up to that stage, and there's 2 or 3 million deaths around the world, there is no way that any single one of us will not know a person or people that have died. Friends, family members, parents of school kids that you know. It's just horrible. It is horrible. It's the Spanish flu all over again, but it's not a flu as such. And the Spanish flu, the reason it was called the Spanish flu was because Spain was the only country reporting the true nature of the deaths and cases and everything there, because the world was at war at the time and they didn't want to report. They were controlled. The governments and army controlled the media and wouldn't let them report how bad anything really was. They didn't want to seem weak to the enemy. So it was nicknamed the Spanish flu because people thought it was only bad there. Because Spain was neutral back then. They weren't fighting, so they were neutral. So they had the freedom to report. And in America, where they estimate 675,000 people died, it's probably more. San Francisco was almost completely unaffected by it because that was the only place that listened to the advice of the medical people they had around them. No one else did, and so many died. They closed San Francisco off straight away before there was a case. And then they put all the different parts of San Francisco, they locked them down into districts so that each district could handle everything. And they were good. But then what happened is the Spanish flu mutated 3 times. It mutated, it was a Spanish flu, and it wasn't the best. But then when it mutated into a second strain, it killed everyone. That's when San Francisco locked everything up. Then when that seemed to pass, they laxed all that, and the third strain came along, which wasn't as infectious and it wasn't as deadly, but they got infected. And with the Spanish flu, there was an interesting song that the school kids sang at school while skipping ropes or in the streets. I think it went something like, what was it? I had a bird called Enza. I opened the window and influenza. And at my schools and that, my kids, until I took them out, have been singing coronavirus songs on washing hands, singing happy birthday to the coronavirus. So by the time you've finished singing happy birthday, you've washed your hands properly for the amount of time that you should. And this is how nursery rhymes come about. They come about through things to do with death or wartime, or whether it's, spies trying to get information, and you have a little nursery rhyme, or kids singing about death in a happy, positive way that doesn't scare them, and they stick. And then people sing them years later, like, I like that nursery rhyme. But then there's the origin. So there's going to be new origins of nursery rhymes appearing. Yeah, I totally agree. Don't worry, be happy, says hopefully when this is all over, the governments actually start investing money into hospitals. Well, there needs to be a complete and utter shift through governments and through people themselves. And people can, and I can tell you, governments are going to want to go back to the way things were. There's businesses that want to, like the airlines, for example. The airlines, one of the scummiest places you'd ever want to be. Now, I'm not talking about the staff. I'm talking about the executives and the owners. They want to be bailed out, right? This is what airlines have done. They had billions and billions and billions of dollars in cash for a situation like this where they could have continued, or at least continued to pay staff and survive. They want money from governments because what they have done, and it's a practice that's been going on for years, all their executives have these trigger points where they get ridiculous massive bonuses for doing nothing. All they have to do is, if their shares reach a certain point, that triggers the bonus and they get 40 million or 12 million. So what the company does, they go and buy in bulk with the money they have got, their own shares to push their share price up in order to trigger those executives' bonuses and then give them that money. So now they have no money because they've been giving it to their executives by inflating their own stocks to trigger it. Like, how disgusting is that? And now, through their mismanagement or the way they've conducted their business, they want to be bailed out. They're going to bail out the people that had nothing to do with it. They've lost all their jobs now. I wonder how it will go since summer is coming for the Northern Hemisphere. Will that make any difference? I don't believe. I mean, it's still early, like a lot of the studies, but they're showing, like, I'm in the hemisphere where it's cooling a little bit, but we're having temperatures in the 30s. We've got places like Indonesia where it's 38 degrees. I mean, a lot of places here are still warm. Like, it's a cool day today. It's a bit of rain. It's only like 20, 22 degrees. But it's not going to be that temperature all the time. We're still having days that are like 25, 30, 35 degrees. It's still warm and the infection rates are going up. The infection rates don't seem to make any difference really for the warmth or the cold because they still survive. The viruses still survive long enough and you are still sick before you know you're sick to spread it. So I don't see it making any real difference, but let's hope it does. David, I'm going to look at the bright side. There is no traffic in Southern California. Yeah, there's nothing. I've got to, like, this isn't going to be a particularly long chat because I've actually got physio on my back today. Yesterday I have injections in my spine to help. I actually normally get 2. Then 2 days later I get 2. They gave me all 4 at once. They said because of the virus, we'll give them to you at once. It's going to be very painful. Jesse, I hope you know how valuable your channel and others like yours are during this time. Oh, thanks heaps for that donation. I do appreciate it. I really do. Well, I'm going to have more time at home, and I'm going to try and do more chats. Hopefully not so much a downer, but I think it's good to stay connected and talk about the coronavirus and what we all are going through, what we're learning, to help each other. And I'm going to do videos. I think I did one. I've done a couple this week. Like, I hadn't done any for a while because there was so much going on and uncertainty. I was like, that wasn't my focus, but I'm going to be doing some more videos. And like I said, I did some a few days ago. I think I've done 2 I uploaded. So thanks, Jesse. Thank you very, very much. I really do appreciate it. And it's helpful because YouTube has really dropped because of this, but then I have noticed the views have actually started to come up again. But I don't think there's as much money for ads. That, like, there still should be, but anyway, I don't know. So I'm in UK, says Chris Trinder, watching on BBC TV. 3 people, 26 to 45, on ventilator, struggling for breath, pleading with us to isolate. I'm gutted, and no question will continue my isolation. So hard to. And all these things have happened this year. Like, my wife was looking for a year for a job. She got a job like 3 weeks ago, did it for 2 weeks, and they said, well, we have to shut down. But they've allowed her to work from home, but they lost 80% of their business, so she might only get another week or 2 of work. So that money's going to go. I'm out and about having to do things. I have to, getting injections, going to physio, whatever. So I'm still coming in contact. Well, we've got the kids out of school to reduce that as well. And my wife also started a course just a couple of weeks ago, doing a childcare course. All these positives were sort of happening this year. You got this and doing a course and doing this, and it's all going to be on hold. And and I've got asthma, so that I don't know what that's going to mean. I'm 48. That could be a bad thing for me. I might be okay. I might be anything. I'm scared for my country. I'm in the States. Well, I'm very scared for America right now, for the US. Donald Trump wants to suddenly open everything. And like, did he really say that grandparents are willing to die for the economy or something? Like, did he really say that? I haven't, I heard he said it, but I haven't been able to clarify it. So that's like, what the hell? It's just a weird time. So I can only do this chat for about another. I've got to leave in about. I can do the chat for maybe another 40 minutes. So that's still, and then I've got to go for my physio. And then while I'm out, I'm going to try and get some seed for the chickens, which I have, but I need to stock up if they're still open. Because we've got the bonus that we have is we grow some of our own stuff, as you guys may or may not know. So we get some supply of chicken eggs. I've got mandarin trees, lots of chili plants, heaps of blueberries, but they're not in season. They won't be ready till mid-November. But mandarins, lemons, lemonade, lemons, limes. Trying to think. Lots of fiddly things we can eat, but everything helps. Dollhouse, good luck. Who's the Dollhouse? What's your original name? Hey, Callahan. So don't be late. Sending love and well wishes from England. Hope you and your family are doing well. Same to everyone. I hope everyone's just safe, and it's a really scary thought. But honestly, 12 months from now, how many people that are at this chat could potentially lose their life or a loved one, and I think it's very high that someone on here's that I could lose my life. You just don't know. You don't know. It comes down to really the pathetic governments who, like in Australia, you know how many ventilators we have in this country? 2,000. Sorry, 2,219 ventilators. What's going to happen when in 6 weeks from now there's 100,000 cases in a day, and up to like, even if only 10% need to go to the hospital, that's 10,000. And let's say only half of those need a ventilator. 5,000. You're already 2.5 times capacity. Now we're at the moment we actually have a company in this country that makes ventilators, and they've done a deal with the government to just make everything you can, whatever it costs. So they reckon that they could double it to 4, maybe even get to 6,000 or 7,000. Not enough. We only have 95,000 94,000 hospital beds. Now they could all, like, that's just not enough, and that's the fault of governments constantly cutting costs. But governments are fine to spend billions and billions and billions on weapons. We've got to stockpile weapons. We don't need to stockpile medical supplies. So hopefully things do change. I think things that need to change is, once this is all over, we have to have a universal basic income for everyone. People, if they can, need to have a designated part of their home for growing their own food. We need to have manufacturing and everything that you can in your own country, put much more into health, much more into the health system. Now, the health system here isn't that bad. I mean, I go to the doctor, it doesn't cost me. If I want to go to the doctor tomorrow, I just go online, find my doctor, make an appointment. I can usually get in the following day or 48 hours later and see them, and it doesn't cost me. And if I need to have full blood work, I need to have tests for glucose and white blood cells, the full test you have for everything, vitamin D, I get a thing, I go and do it, I get my results back 2 or 3 days later, it doesn't cost me anything. So that's all good. But things need to change. Universal basic income. Way less money spent on unnecessary, stupid weapons and stockpiling. We need to stockpile food. We need to make food in our own countries if you can. Have giant silos and everything. Stockpile that for situations like this or any other disaster, or just to have it. And start getting used to seasonal foods, not having everything readily available when you want it. Seasonal eating needs to happen. Manufacturing in your own country instead of relying 90% on somewhere like China because it's cheaper and it becomes all about profit. You have a happy, healthier society that all work for themselves. You have more people working from home. We've got a technology that allows people to not have to go out and do everything. you know, obviously, some people need to work. It's just how the business is. But the amount of people that work in an office that suddenly are told you need to work from home, technology is there to work from home. They should have been working from home if possible. We need, well, you know what? You say we need to stockpile weapons. Well, you know, it shows that you don't, because right now everyone's getting infected and dying from something, and the weapon's not going to save you. You could still have all your weapons and all your friggin' crap that you want to have in your country. You could reduce the money spent on war by just 50% and still have a crap load of stuff. That extra 50% goes into, like, suddenly governments all around the world suddenly have all this money to throw at everything. We're going to fix you, we'll help you, we'll do this, we'll do that. They've got the money. Not that money's a real thing. But, you know, hey, the lazy one. Productivity decreases markedly when changing to work from home. I don't see how. It comes, if productivity, you need a system where you have an option to work from home or in an office. And those that get the opportunity to work from home, if their productivity is below a certain amount, then you go, well, clearly you're not taking it seriously. You work from the office, and you that are in the office, you work from home. And if your productivity is good, you stay working from home. Because to me, if working in, I'm way more productive working from home than in an office. There's way less distractions, unless your kid's at home. And it's more comfortable working from home, and you feel a sense of freedom and stuff to do things at home. But everyone's different. Some people feel the need to put on a suit and go in an office, and they feel good because that somehow is a different purpose, and they need to get away and also to socialize, and that's fine. But I think in a new system, we need to have way more opportunities for people to work from home if they can and they want to. And if their productivity is fine, all the better for it. Because that means we need less space out there for buildings, for rents, for mortgages. We don't need as much room for people to go and work. That way, some of that space will not be needed. The costs will drop for companies, for renting premises, for hiring, buying computers, for their all this will drop, and people at home can do it. Then they can claim stuff. So companies can work in their own back door rather than off to another country, because their costs will be reduced by a third to a half in running costs. So their profits will still be okay. I think that's a great idea. You know, you do that, and then you've got all these people that are, you know, and with all that extra space out in the world that you're not needed for office space, even if you reduce that by a third, that could be converted into housing, to shelters, to more hospitals, more medical things, more places to manufacture things, and have a bit of a shift. You know, imagine if you could have 30% of the workforce working from home. That gives you 30% more space to manufacture, to do things, which helps. Because by people working at home, like I said, you reduce costs significantly. All those people that work, and then companies going, oh, we have to send a certain amount to the Philippines or to India to do all that work, because it costs too much to do it here. It won't cost as much to do it here in your own country. If you've reduced your workforce and rent and expenses, by maybe even a half, so they can still get paid well. You know, I don't know. It's really weird. I really hope the system changes. And I hope, because this is going to be a long-term thing, I actually hope that a lot of people sort of get used to the whole, well, food's not there, and all these things that I did for fun and enjoyment, they're not really that important, because I'm actually focusing on surviving. And you know, where's my next paycheck coming from, type of thing. Jobs aren't so secure, and maybe they won't be in the future. So hopefully people will change as well. And if the powers that be and the billionaires that want to shove all this stuff back in our face when this is over, buy, people going, nah, sorry. As much as I'd like that, that's not important, because I need to make sure that I'm secure and my family's looked after, as opposed to buying that watch, that dress, that car, 2 iPhones a year, all that food. Oh, I'll throw a third of it away. So, comes down to the people going, not important. All these people here bought up all the seeds in all the stores to grow their own food. Great idea. Too little, too late. It's going to be winter here in 2 and a bit months. You can't grow anything really now. Very little. You need to grow, the end of winter, like early spring, early summer. You need to be growing. So things are ready around now or April or May. But at least people's thinking has changed. They're sort of, people think, I need to do this. And then you think, oh, this will work. And they're thinking in a different way, which is a good thing. Yeah, there are many types of coronaviruses, but this particular new one that's never been around, COVID-19. You know why it's called COVID-19? Because it's coronavirus. The VI for virus. The D, because the first case was discovered in December, and the 19th, December 19th was patient 1. So yeah, but if that particular strain, that new one, that mutated into a stronger strain, so there's 2 of that particular strain that's never been seen before. Alma says the big bosses will never change. Well, we have to make them change, don't we? People start refusing. Like, first of all, if you introduce a universal basic income, and that stays when all these bosses don't have as much control, because you've got, I don't know, $300 a week for doing nothing. So they have a little bit less control over you. You don't need to work in as many hours, and we don't have to buy. Like, I don't subscribe to it, just wasting anyway. I mean, but this is what I wear. I've got the same chair falling apart. As long as the chair's working, that's just how I am. I don't buy expensive clothes. I've had my phone charging. I've had my same phone for 4.5 years. It works. A lot of people in that 4.5 year period would have upgraded their phone about 8 times. Yeah, they will extend the date, I expect. Do you think the coronavirus is spreading in the air? 100%. Well, of all the studies that so far, they're showing that breathing, you can get it. Not everyone. Some people, it's coming out in their breath, it's coming out in droplets. It's living on surfaces for 12 hours, 3 days, in some cases up to 9. It varies, I guess. There's lots of mixed messages because it's still early days, but the research papers that I have read have said that by just breathing, you can. It's not like you will, but you can. And also, if the spaces can combine, that's why cruise ships and airplanes and closed office spaces, it could be hotbeds, because you're in this space and it's circulating as well. We are spoiled. You are right, Kevin. I think it's going to, hopefully it changes people's thinking, because we have had it too good for too long, where we can just have anything we want at the drop of a hat. Food is there whenever you want. Every sporting thing you want to ever watch or go to is there. Anything you want to buy, jobs are there. Now, a lot of people struggle to find jobs and that, but for the most part, it's all. What the hell's that music on for? Okay, I don't know why that music's playing. Let me just change that. Yeah, so and we are spoiled, and this should be a complete and utter rethink and reset of our brains of what's important, and none of that stuff matters. Like there's a sport in this country called rugby league, not rugby union. Well, we do have that, but rugby league. And it's suspended, and they somehow think they might get back in May. You're not going to get back in May when this thing's peaking. The season's over, and there's a few clubs. They're saying a few clubs that they may never come back. They'll go bust, and the competition they'll be the same. One of them is the team I support, and I looked at it and I was like, you know what? I don't really care. It's not important, honestly. Movie stars are not important. Sporting stars are not important. They get paid ridiculous amounts for stuff. People are starting to realize, oh, geez, the delivery driver who's trying to get the food for us to eat is important. The nurses and doctors are important. All these essentials to keep something running, to keep us fed and safe and healthy. The train drivers, if trains were still working, just stuff like that. That's what's important. Those are the people that have society glued together. Not the movie star bitching about, I only earned 15 million and I worked so hard for this part. I had to study for 6 months and I did this. You're overpaid. And when this comes back, I really hope that any sports that survive, it all changes. Movies, all this, it all changes, and they stop paying these people these ridiculous amounts of money. It's ridiculous. It's not important. Surely a person can make a movie and make $1 million and be happy as Larry. You don't need 20 million. These sports people that earn tens of millions, a boxer who in one fight could earn 50 or 100 million, that's just egregious. You don't need it. These people can be happy and survive earning 500,000 or $1 million when the rest of us are earning 100,000 or 25,000. And you've got sports people in this country in a game called AFL who right now are it's shut down. It's over. And the players are saying, we want 50% of our earnings. We want to get paid. Why? Why should you get paid? All these other people have just been told, you've got no job. You've got no money. Well, these sports people have no job. Why should they get any money? Why? Tell me, why should they, who already earn heaps and heaps, get money when the rest of us don't? Selfish, entitled brats. Yeah. Esports for the win. I think you're going to see a lot of online games being played, a lot of YouTube, a lot of Netflix, a lot of online stuff. The internet's going to be like, whatever that means. Janet, you are so right. I wonder what the Summer Olympics will do. Oh. Look, I don't even know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. Like 2 months ago when I was telling people about this, and they were like, nah, it's not going to be bad. And I said, I would expect, best case scenario, life won't start getting back to some sort of normality till October. I now believe it's probably March to June next year, but potentially if there's enough cases. See, that's the thing. Even if by then they go, well, you don't have herd immunity, only 40% of you have been infected. You could always just say, well, you know what? Those who've been infected, assuming the studies show that you can't be infected again, or if you can by both strains, if you've got the immunity to it, it's the same as a vaccine, it's better than a vaccine. You can go out into the community and start up your jobs and go to school and do all the rest of it. Those who have not been affected, you still need to stay home, or there's some reduced mixing. So there's herd immunity. You go, all the people that have been infected, you go back out into your life. And the people that haven't, you only allow 30% to go out, because that way you're still protecting almost herd immunity of what's left. I don't know. Yes, I know. It's Italy's. It's horrible. Like over 10% death rate of confirmed cases. It's just, and those poor doctors under stress and getting sick and having to choose who lives and who dies, having to take ventilators away from people to give it to younger people who are more likely to survive. There's going to be a lot of post-traumatic stress. There's going to be a lot of suicides around the world. There's going to be a lot of awful things. New Zealand, New Zealand's doing the right thing. They're way ahead of the curve. They're always way ahead of the curve. They're like a European country like Finland, where they just get on top of things and they put people first for the most part. New Zealand had 6 cases and they closed the borders. Completely closed the borders. Australia only completely closed the borders. We had a cruise ship that docked in Sydney last week and they just let everyone off. Morons. Let everyone off, and there's hundreds from that ship infected. One of the people from that ship died a couple of days ago. They were letting people off a ship, like the biggest incubators there are, cruise ships. So they're back out in the community. Now, in the section that I live, like I'm not in Sydney, I'm in a place called the Central Coast. A week ago, we had like only 7 cases. That then went to 19. Yesterday, it went to 38. Like it's exploding because these people getting off the cruise ships. Where's Kevin? But if you have a rare talent, such as some of these athletes, why not allow them conversation based on the value they provide? I don't agree with that at all. But everyone has value. The people that, they have a rare talent. I know what you mean by that. But why should they have any compensation? They have a rare talent. They've already got millions and millions and millions of dollars. They can survive a year without getting paid. Most of us can't survive a year without getting paid. Won't make any difference to them other than them being greedy. So I don't agree with them getting a cent. Why does LeBron James need to get some compensation? He's worth $200 million or whatever he's worth. Like, why? He can survive a year. It's not going to make any difference to his standard of living, other than it might make a difference to his greediness and selfishness towards people that have none. So, no, I don't care about athletes at all right now. They're multimillionaires, a lot of them. Yes, they have rare talents, but that rare talent has allowed them to be paid stupid amounts, and they've got so much money, they don't need any for 6 or 12 months. They can survive. Most of us can't survive without pay at all or for very long. How many people here could survive without a job for 12 months when you've still got to pay mortgages and rents and feed families and pay electricity bills and insurance and all the rest you have to pay? You can't. It's not possible. Why not stop all cruise ships? Of course. I don't think they have now, but it's too little too late. It's just mental. This time of year is bad for spreading the seaweed because you get violent spring storms and create huge winds. Yeah. And we'll be coming into the cold season. So it's going to be... all those doomsday preppers would be pretty prepared right now. Just a couple of things I just don't have is rubbing alcohol, because like I said earlier, we grow lots of aloe vera plants. I can make hand sanitizer with rubbing alcohol and my aloe vera plant gel. And if I wanted to give them I've got lots of essential oils. I want to give it a nice smell. And I need face masks and a welding hat. You can't get them. Or there's a few places that are selling them, ridiculous prices. And I contacted one and I said, "Oh, where's this coming from?" Because all the people in the picture were Asian. And I said, "Oh, it's coming from Asia." Well, first of all, there are no flights allowed in, no international flights. I don't know if that extends to flying in food or flying in medical. I don't know what that extends to. So I'm a bit sketchy about giving someone money for something that could benefit me that's coming from another country, so I don't know if it will arrive. or what's going to be on it. Alcohol goes bad. Yeah, but not straight away. I mean, for those of us that are washing our hands 4,000 times a day, I don't even think it will last. They can't even buy groceries. To be honest, I don't. I'd rather work than suffering. That's the other thing. I don't know. It's just with this situation, you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. Kevin says the good news is I'm seeing so many people helping others, donating money, sharing what they have. That's what it's all about. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that too, which is great. I've seen a lot of the opposite as well. It brings out the best and worst in people, and that's just life, unfortunately. But eat foods with vitamin C, especially citrus. It won't hurt. Yeah, well, we've got citrus trees. I've got a mandarin tree that's probably got about 300 growing on it. The first lot should start to be ready in 2 to 4 weeks. Like what we've got, and we've got lemons and lemonade lemons, and what we do is we squeeze the lemons and all the lemonade lemons, make them into ice cubes, and we put one of those cubes in our water. I have filtered water, which I turn into sparkling because I've got a soda stream. Alcohol goes bad with the hoard piles. Some of the weird things people are hoarding. Yeah, harvest isn't until November. Yeah, a lot of things aren't. Like we need things now, and most things that I grow, the things that I grow now that I can pick now or will be able to pick very soon, are things like chilies, which I can just add to stuff. You know, lemons, lemonade, lemons, limes, mandarins. We've got orange trees, but they're still too young. I think what else we're growing. I mean, I don't know. I've got green beans growing. I've got 2 turmeric plants, but they won't be ready for a bit. That's turmeric, garlic, all that stuff's ginger. So good at, regardless. But now, it's really good to have now. Wow. Just looking, Australia's got 2,676 confirmed cases, 359 today, 3 deaths today, 11 in total. We've only had 11 deaths, which is quite really good so far, but it's really only starting here. So you sort of get to the point where there's been a big cluster of people being confirmed, and then you're going to get a week or 2 to 3 weeks later, those people becoming serious and dying. So that's going to really ramp up. Danny, hi Jason, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm all right. I mean, we're healthy. We don't have the coronavirus as far as we're aware at this point. We could be asymptomatic or just have it and not show symptoms yet. So, but other than that, we're all good. I think anxiety levels globally are like, because I think people are finally starting to realize this is history. You know, when you look at those things in the past about Spanish flu and when's the next pandemic and it's going to kill millions around the world. This is it now. We're living it in the early stages. So, May, June, people are going to be, it's just going to be like a dream. This is the stuff that your kids and grandkids are going to be learning about in school. Like, the time that 500 million people died around the world. Now, that's worst case, I believe, but still, you could certainly be looking at 50 to 100 million at least dying around the world, just like the Spanish flu. Spanish flu, though, had a death rate of 10%, but that's one of those things that the numbers were not correct. That's why they say 50 to 100 million, and the amount of infections were most likely more. So with this, infections are most definitely more than what's being reported. And eventually, when it gets to a ridiculous state of hundreds of thousands of people dying daily around the world, the numbers that you just can't keep those numbers. So you're looking at I think absolutely best case scenario, 100 million deaths around the world, and worst case, probably 500 million. That's like awful. That's awful. Then you add flus in the mix that will help people die because their immune system's screwed because they're still not well, and suicides and all these other things. It's just ridiculous. Where are we? My friend Lisa sold the world toilet paper shorts. May I post a link? Sure, go for it. Greetings from Arizona. Hey, how you going? Davis. I wish people will have thinker and shop more locally in the future. Well, I'm hoping that's how it'll be. Like I said, you get more people, you get a big portion of the workforce working from home, which is extremely doable. You then have less space, resources needed by companies to house all these people to work. That space can be converted into storage areas, hospitals, manufacturing plants, where people can do more here. You've reduced the costs of companies by more people working at home, and that extra money keeps the profits where they were nearly, and more goes into sustainability things. I'm so glad we scheduled our trip to Europe back in November before this craziness. Cheers to your kiddos. I love the sound of children in one's home. Yeah, it's normally squealing, laughing, crying, or fighting, or pooping. All right, cool. Thanks for that link. Hi, Jason. Are you guys in lockdown? Not yet. We're in stage 2, which means we've got social distancing. A lot of places have closed. I think at this point, like we've got a country of 25 million. I'm not sure what the workforce would be, but I think at this point, 1 million to 2 million have already lost their jobs. Like I can go out freely right now. I've got physio soon, so I'll have to end this chat within the next 5 or 10 minutes to go and have my physio. I can go to the shops, but pretty soon we're going to have a stricter lockdown, which may become total, where the only reason you're allowed to go out is for medical treatment or to help people medically, like work, go to the shops to buy food. There's a very small list of reasons you're allowed out. In Italy, Rome, the most difficult things to find at grocery stores are yeast and flour because everyone is making bread at home. Also, eggs are really hard to find. Geez, that's tough. Luckily, I bought a bunch of flour, and we have chickens at home. But like I said, you may not have been here when I said at the beginning of the chat, I stocked up on everything 2 months ago before anyone sort of realized what was going to happen. So thankfully, I didn't make a dent in the shops not having stuff because everyone was just blasé and had no idea what was going on. I could foresee it. Like I'm very analytical, statistical, and I was looking at it and thinking, yeah, we're screwed. So we've got everything we need for now. I sort of wish I'd bought more toilet paper at the time. Yeah. And in Aussie, New Zealand, so it's getting cooler, so it's going to be more hospitable. Yeah, it's a damn bit. Hope, I deleted my questions. Oh, sorry, Hope. I haven't been really reading much. I've been sort of talking more, and then sorry, I didn't see whatever it was. Is Aussie still having those fires? No, they're pretty much out now because we started getting a heap of rain. Then we got so much rain, we got massive floods and power outages, and then we just got over all that, and now there's the coronavirus. So crazy. We're good on eggs. Thank God for spring laying season. Yeah. Well, our chickens are going to start to slow down with their laying, but I mean, we've still got probably about 40 or 50 eggs, and even if we only get 3 or 4 eggs a day, that'll do. I've looked for eggs the last 4 days and nada, 0. Yeah, not good. Crazy chicken. What is nada? Nada is like nada, nothing, 0. Glad you stocked up. Yeah. I'm one of those that prepare for everything. I could go out. I could go out on a 35-degree day and still take something warm just in case, so I'm prepared in case there's an unexpected change. So I sort of prepare for every contingency in life. I've always bought in bulk. I've always sort of been made fun of a bit. Like, why are you buying 10 butters? Why are you buying all of this? I said, well, it's a staple. We'll eventually go through it anyway. They're on special. Now all my hoarding, buying in bulk, has helped. All right, 5 more minutes, guys, and I'll have to end this chat. But I will start doing more of these. I may even, if you'd like me to, when I come back from physio, I can do another chat. It'll be a while, and maybe some of you be in bed, but I'm happy to do it again. The dollhouse has been ignoring mine as well. Sorry, I'm just missing because I've been ranting a bit. The dollhouse. Let me see if I can go back and find something you said. My poor mum couldn't get anything, and that made me cry. I know, it's awful. It's awful. The dollhouse. Since the virus has come out, selfish people have been over bulk panic buying and leaving nothing for the doctors, nurses, and the elderly or families. What's with the panic buying of toilet rolls? I don't know. Like, honestly, toilet rolls. We've got toilet rolls. There's 5 of us, and I'm the only male in the house. So, like, I don't need to use toilet paper very often. But females need to use the toilet every time they go to the toilet. So in my house, between 4 females, they could easily between them go through a roll a day, where I would go through a roll a week. But also, everyone being home, you're using more because you're not out at work or out there and using stuff out there. But you know what? There's so many things you can use other than you're really desperate. If you don't have a bidet, have a shower. Get the hose. Anything. We're in lockdown. We can go out 1 per family to get groceries and only in your area and to get medicines, or if you must work outside. Yeah, that's where we'll be at soon. I would say, what's today? Thursday. Probably by Monday, I think we'll be there. I would say that these new measures will be mentioned in the next 48 hours, and they might give us a couple of days before it happens. What is the cure? The coronavirus cure. There's trials going on that says the HIV, the old HIV drug is good, and a malaria drug where the malaria is resistant to the drug, but it's helpful with this. Yeah. What explains the TP run? No. Yeah. I don't know. It was weird that was actually the first to go. Like, I'd stocked up on toilet paper. When I say stocked up, I bought like 3 cartons of 24. Just because in my normal shop, whenever I go to the shops, I buy bulk anyway because I don't want to have to go to the shops every 4 days for things. We have like 4 boxes of baby wipes just because we use them. But that's going to last. You can't get them anymore, but things like that. Don't worry about toilet paper. You can use lettuce. Me and my brother love your channel and recipe. Wish you all the best. You and your family be safe. Hugs from Portugal. Well, thanks, and same to you. Everyone, really be safe. Be safe. Leaves are soft here too. Oh, all right. Dollhouse, lavender, cougar. Okay. Sassy cougar. Oh, toilet paper link. Yeah, I've got that, and I've got it open in Twitter, but I haven't really had a look at it yet, but I will. I'll have to go in about 2 minutes. Do you know the cause of the virus? Look, there's theories. There's what doctors say. There's what conspiracy people say. heard most likely it's from a bat from the wet markets. I've heard it's a deliberate bioweapon, which is why it's mostly killing the old. They want to skim the top. There's so many reasons, and honestly, I've already read that. If there's no toilet paper, people will get bogged down. It's 10:41 a.m. here. My appointment for my physiotherapy is at 11, and it's about a 13-minute drive to get there, so which is why I have to go in a minute because I've got to get a few things to take, my wallet, my phone, and I've got to get my gloves. Oh, it's Angel. I thought so because of the rainbowy sort of avatar. Is it being handled well in Australia? No, I don't believe so at all. They're too slow off the mark. Too many mixed messages. Some places saying you've got to lock down the schools. Others can keep them open. Saying don't let the cruise ships in. Another one, let the cruise ship in. Just in Sydney, with hundreds of people with the virus, it's just hopeless. It's beyond hopeless. You've got people social distancing and others not. I was at the shops yesterday. I had to have injections in my spine, and I popped into the shops. I was doing the social distancing. Next minute, I feel someone breathing on my neck. I turned around. I said, would you step back, please? He says, oh, we're all going to get it. I said, I don't care. It's not about you. It's about the rest of us. You don't care. You want to get sick? Go and lick everything you can find. But stay away from me. And then the shopkeeper was like, yes, please stand back. Like, if you're not going to, if I'm wearing gloves and you're going to get in my face and you refuse to leave, get away from me, I'm going to knock you out. Like, I'm not playing games here. As much as a lot of us are going to get it, doesn't mean I want to get it. If I get it and my whole family gets it, and worst case scenario, I die and my wife dies, or even if the both of us have to go to the hospital, what happens to my kids? We've got no one to look after them. Certainly can't ask a grandparent who are way more susceptible. We've got no family up here, and we're all isolated. So we need to try to not get it as much as we can for our kids' sake. Yeah, I'm going to start. Hey, Lynn, I'm going to start doing more simple cooking stuff. It's also going to be harder with everyone home, but I am going to try my best to do these sort of chats every week, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, just updating on what the coronavirus, hearing from you guys, because I think it's a good, oh my God, 30 seconds and I have to go. But I want to know now, would you guys like me to start a new chat when I get home from my physio? Would you, even if some of you can't make it, but would you like me to do another chat and continue chatting for a while? I'm happy to do that. I don't mind. Either way, it's all good. Yeah, don't be late. Put a apple into it. We like seeing the kid. Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I'll do that then. I've got to go, guys. But I will. When I get back, I'll do another chat. When I get back, I'll get the chat scheduled so you know I'm doing it. And if you want to come to it, all good. But thanks heaps, guys. Stay safe. And yeah, so thanks for being here. And I promise I will do another chat when I get home. And yeah, and I look forward to seeing as many of you as I can. See you guys.